This is Deepak. How are you? So, before I take off for the neurological conference, the neuroscience conference in Ohio, I thought I would answer today's question, which is, of course, derived from the book that Menas and I have published, You Are the Universe, DiscoveringYourCosmicSelf.com is the site where these questions come in. So once again, the site from where these questions are coming in is DiscoveringYourCosmicSelf.com, and the books are derived, and the questions are derived from this book at this moment. And the question is, today's question from Liliana Devino. I had a question regarding how formlessness becomes form. In the video above, you describe how this vibration becomes qualities of consciousness, including form through its own self-interaction. Also, on page 34 of the book, You Are the Universe, you write, the subatomic particles that the cosmos is built upon wink in and out of existence continually. Like a cosmic on-off switch, there is a mechanism that turns nothing, the so-called vacuum state, into a teeming ocean of physical objects. This thought is continued on page 35. In unimaginably small scales of time, vibrations of quanta come out of emptiness and quickly merge back into emptiness, but this quantum on-off cycle is totally invisible to us. And here's the final question, actually, based on those comments. The question is, have you heard of apports, described as the paranormal phenomena of sudden transference or manifestation of an article, such as a newspaper, jewelry, etc.? And do you think they may be related to both self-interaction, which is consciousness, and quantum vibrations? Okay, so that's the question. And let me answer it directly first. Although I've heard of instant manifestation of physical objects through various sadhus and mystics, to be quite honest, I have never seen one personally, and those that I have seen have usually been magic tricks. But here's the real answer to your question. The universe right now is spontaneously coming out of the unmanifest virtual domain. Today, there are many names for this virtual domain, the non-local realm of reality, where everything is correlated and connected with everything else, without any signals going from one quantum object to another. This realm of non-locality can also be referred to as transcendent realm, or maybe the quantum vacuum, or maybe the grid, or maybe the field of infinite possibilities, or maybe the realm of quantum entanglement. And so whether we believe in a historical Big Bang or not, according to some quantum field theorists, the visible universe is spontaneously manifesting from the invisible domain. And if you're a physicist, then you describe these as virtual particles, and the realm of quantum entanglement as that realm which is not in space-time, where energy, space-time, matter, information all coexist as possibilities. Okay, so that's if you want to go with the physical explanation. And even the physical explanation now posits a transcendent realm which is not in space-time. Call it non-local. Has no location in space-time or the realm of matter, but from which all matter comes. So spontaneous manifestation is already happening. How that quantum realm of energy and space-time at the very fundamental level, the realm of strong and weak interactions, quantum actually becomes the experience of the physical world is a question that scientists cannot answer at the moment. Okay, so that's called the hard problem of consciousness. But then if we look at it from the subjective side, in fact, what we call the physical realm is just modifications of sense perceptions, such as sound, touch, sight, taste, and smell. We have talked about this forever. They are modified forms of consciousness itself. So, from a subjective level, what we call the experience of the physical world is a perceptual experience, which is a modified form of consciousness. And the interpretation of that is thought, and likes, dislikes are feelings. And even if you look at that, then every act of perception is instant manifestation. Every act of perception. Perception just doesn't mean seeing, but observing. And observing doesn't mean just seeing through the eyes, but the act of hearing, touching, tasting, smelling, etc. There is no sound without the hearing of it, and there's no form without the seeing of it. There's no taste or smell without the experience of that, and there is no texture outside of the feeling of that. And so hearing, touching, feeling, tasting, smelling, seeing, they are modified forms of consciousness, and in that sense every act of perception is instant manifestation. And that instant manifestation is you, your mind, your body, and your universe are instantly manifesting from the level of pure consciousness. But your question is something else. Can somebody produce a book out of nothing, or a piece of jewelry out of nothing, or a watch out of nothing, or a newspaper out of nothing? And the answer is, I don't know, but I've never seen it. What that would be, though, would be if you produce a book, then the book is already there somewhere, and you manifest it here. That would be quantum teleportation, or teleportation of large objects. Now, if you look at the scientific literature, that is part of science fiction. So if you watch Star Trek, then you may hear that in the program, in the TV program, when the captain says, "Beam me up, Scotty." Scotty presses a button, and the captain is immediately transported from this realm to another galaxy without going through the space in between. Now at micro levels, that is called a quantum leap. When a subatomic particle moves from one location to another location without going through the space in between. So that, of course, is a well-recognized phenomenon at the level of micro-objects, at the level of electrons. That is also called teleportation. So teleportation is a well-known phenomenon. And of course, when we talk about non-locality, then two particles in different locations of space-time are instantly correlated. Instantly correlated. So you measure one and you determine the state of the other, even though the other may be millions of light years away, theoretically. That has been shown both mathematically, but also at experiments in the Hadron Collider. Alain Aspect and Jizan, two physicists, have demonstrated this at the Large Hadron Collider at CERN. So we can say that this realm actually exists, where there's instant correlation and even teleportation at the level of quantum objects. Now, can that occur on macro objects? And some people have actually done experiments that if the macro object is small enough but is observable, then it can be seen on macro objects as well. So now we have the theoretical basis of teleportation. Can this be possible for human beings? So could you teleport to another galaxy in the future? And if you read science fiction, That is a very major theme, and the theoretical possibilities are there. So, for example, if we could reduce ourselves to the quantum state and ultimately keep the memory of the form alive in the non-local state, then theoretically we could transport to another galaxy billions of light years, millions of light years away through quantum teleportation, and over there the formless would become form again. Now, of course, if you read the Indian mythical literature in the Vedanta, such as Yoga Vashishta and all these other great texts, then there are stories about quantum teleportation of human beings and objects from one realm in space-time to another realm in space-time as well. But as I said, that's part of mythology, that's part of human imagination. Human imagination itself, by the way, takes quantum leaps. So when you think of the Empire State Building, and then you think of your house possibly in Los Angeles, you go from the Empire State Building to the house in Los Angeles without going through the space in between. So our imagination is always taking quantum leaps, and I think creativity is also a quantum leap. It's a quantum leap in context, relationship, meaning, relationship and possibility. And it's the emergence of something that didn't exist before, and therefore a quantum leap. So, is what you're describing possible in the future? I would say yes. But for an individual to manifest that would have to be only possible if the individual merges with cosmic consciousness, because the individual ego identity is always in space-time. But were you in a state of enlightenment where you were one, where your individual consciousness was one with the universal consciousness, that's a definite theoretical possibility. Okay, so I will leave you with those thoughts, and we'll continue this conversation tomorrow from wherever I happen to be. I'm taking a flight to Columbus, Ohio, and that's not a quantum leap. I have to step on a plane, and the plane has to travel in space and time. Thank you, and be well. Lots of love.